Hello world. Hope all is well. Or I guess if it's not well, I hope you're hanging with it and you're growing through the experience. Welcome back. Welcome back. So my name is Alan Brock, Ground Your Divinity, and I'm in the middle of a 100-day meditation experience that I've chosen for myself. I got the inspiration through a gentleman named Kyle Cease who did his own 2-hour meditation each day and videoed it. So I thought I would do a scope broadcast. So today is day 45 out of 100, 45. And like I said, doing 2 hours of meditation a day. Not always together, but in fact most of the time not together. But different blocks throughout the day, however it flows. I have found personally that if I can do a good at least 30, if not 40 minutes to an hour as a continuous block, that really helps me to go much more deeply than just do it, 10 minutes, 5 minutes here and there. Now that being said, if you guys are beginning in your practice, if 5 minutes is what you feel like doing right now, and that works with you, and it helps you to build the habit, that's cool. Do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, when you wake up in the morning and a little before you go to bed, is a great bracket on the day. But as your practice unfolds, if you can get to where you can do 30, 40 minutes or an hour continuously, I feel like you'll find a whole new level of depth. So thank you. So what is going on for me right now? One is, I talked yesterday, I think it was yesterday, about the idea of managing your energy well. And to be totally honest, I don't feel like I have been. In some ways, yes, but I've also been kind of running my body ragged lately. I've got many things going on. I'm doing tutoring math and physics wise, and I'm creating this life and wellness coaching business. And I've been giving a number of presentations, both at my house, out in the world, on spirituality, different things like that. I have another holistic fair that I'm going to tomorrow, and giving a presentation at that, and running a booth just to meet people and talk and serve. There's a lot of different things going on in my world right now, and so I've been allowing myself to only get like maybe 3-4 hours of sleep on a pretty regular basis, as well as all my days being, other than the meditation period, pretty chock full of moving around doing whatever I do, or working, or things like that. And I'm really beginning to notice in my meditation, well, two thoughts, I guess. Number one is the fact that I am meditating each day is making all of this significantly easier. It's much easier to be present, to be grounded, and to do all the things that I'm doing without getting lost in the outside world, without losing my center, and still able to function quite well and do my thing on low sleep and on multiple activities with very little rest. That being said, I can also tell a difference in the depth of my meditation, in me just having, I believe there's a state at which we can transcend the idea of sleep, and we can, have ultimate, complete, and total focus and depth of meditation, regardless of our external circumstances. That being said, at the level of consciousness that I'm experiencing right now, it seems that as I am doing all this other stuff and not fully taking care of my body with the rest that it feels like it needs, my meditations are not quite as deep as they were before. I'm still having a lot of benefit, but it's just not quite the same. So again, just a testament to taking care of your energy. Find time to rest, find time to sleep when your body feels that it needs it, and that will help your overall development. Your meditations will go deeper, get a deeper sense of presence, and like we also talked about, as your energy upgrades, the things you do in the world will begin to be more effective, and you can accomplish more with doing less. So definitely taking care of yourself is paramount. Welcome. Glad you're around. I also have been, just if you guys are experiencing anything similar to that, I have been doing most of my meditations the past couple days in kind of a crouch pose. I find this very, very beneficial. Rather than the seated meditation, which I started after a while kind of nodding off due to fatigue. Thank you. I've been doing this and basically holding my legs in and breathing and meditating this way. I find that it's very helpful to stay grounded and to keep activation in my physical body and in my lower chakras, which is really helping me to stay present and do my thing without losing myself. Also, if I choose to do seated meditation, whether just normal sleep patterns or disrupted sleep patterns, if my mind is going off or I'm lost in my thoughts, I'm lost in my emotions, squeezing the muscles of my pelvic floor down here, squeezing all these muscles together and just holding them for a little bit. Right on. Cool. I'm glad you're finding value in it. Hold the muscles of your pelvic floor, and then when your mind comes back down into your body, get centered again, and then release. And then you can kind of reestablish your observer consciousness and, hang, breathe for a while. And if you start getting lost again, that's cool. Just squeeze the muscles of your pelvic floor again till you can come back down and then release and kind of keep that cycle going. I find really, really helps. What else is coming up for me? So this idea that that God provides or Spirit provides. Cool. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. And thank you for the follow. I will follow you back when I finish this scope. So this idea that God provides, or God, Spirit, Universe, Oneness, whatever terminology you use. Good question. I typically meditate either on my breath or kind of a sensation as you begin to awaken in meditation. A sense of energy and a sense of presence begins to open inside. And so as I feel that feeling, I kind of meditate on and let my awareness rest in that feeling and allow it to grow. So that or the breath are my two main ones. And then I kind of play around with other stuff as I feel led, but those are the biggies right now. And for any beginners out there, I highly recommend. Overall, I'm doing 2 hours a day. It depends. Usually it's not together, but I like to do at least 30 minutes to an hour as a block. Maybe like 4 30 minutes or 2 hour blocks. Although sometimes the way my schedule has rolled, if I do 5 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 22 minutes there, or whatever, just the way that my day is flowing and I get it in where I can. And so for beginners too with meditation, I do highly recommend the being aware of the breath. It's a great thing to come back to. It's easy to feel. Yeah, right on, man. Good for you for starting. I'm very proud of you. That's awesome. And yes, the time can go quickly. Actually, as I've meditated more and more, I have days where the time goes quickly. Cool. No time like the present. And in fact, actually, season June, before the scope where I give my daily insights, I do a brief meditation practice together where I do some sort of a grounding activity to kind of take time, get back in your body, and then breathe together. So if that would help you to start your practice, please feel free to tune into that, get some ideas, and then start your own practice on top of that as well. And like I said, for beginners, something to ground your body, get your attention, your awareness back in your physical, stand up, bounce around a little bit, tap your chest, tap your arms, tap your legs, wake up the physical senses of your body. All kinds of different techniques that we can do. And I usually play with different stuff during that scope broadcast where we meditate together. And then as you meditate, meditating on your breath is one of the easiest things to do. It's here with you always. It's easy to feel. And then you should be able to, while you're watching the scope, if you put your finger either on the bottom and scroll up, or sometimes on the left and scroll to the right. Actually, this is your left, I think. The left and scroll to the right. you'll see the name Ground Your Divinity. Like you'll see the menu pop up and the name Ground Your Divinity. That's my like scope handle and my company name too. You should be able to tap on that and cool, and then it says follow. Nice, nice, nice. And also counting your breaths really helps to maintain a sense of focus. It's easier to be on task or to have our mind be aware of the on task. Let me think, how do I want to say that more clearly? If we have a task to come back to, it's easier to notice when we're off task, so to speak. So if our task in the moment we choose is counting breaths, just 1, 2, 3, whatever pace you're breathing, count as high as you can. And if you notice yourself get off and you get distracted, then when you come back, just start over and see how high you can go. See if you can get to 30. See if you can get to 50 or 100. And if you can do that, that builds a very deep level of focus. And you feel the breath as you move, and that's a beautiful beginner practice. And then let things expand from there. So back to this idea that I mentioned earlier about God provides, or like I said, spirit. I'm using the term God, spirit, oneness, universe, however you want to phrase it. I am really seeing more and more as I open up to this infinite nature that we all have inside, that things just start to flow. I am creating my business as a life and wellness coach. And now, like I said, I gave a presentation the other day, and I had really intended to take some time during the day to practice the speech and to kind of run through it. I've given it a few times before, but I always like to take time to practice, just put it in my mind, to get rid of some of the nervousness and just to reinforce what I'm going to say and all the above. And it was a full day, and I didn't have any time to do it. Other stuff was going on, and I was kind of feeling a little bit more nervous, and walked into the presentation, and I was just like, you know what? I surrender. Just let this be of service. God, please help. And I just stepped in, and it was one of the best ones that I've ever given. Just in the surrender and just the, you know what? Just let it flow. Words just started popping up. Ideas started popping up. I felt really connected with the crowd. And just this sense of togetherness really began to ensue. My joy began to surface. I got into it more. They got into it more. And it just was this really amazing experience for all people involved. Like I said, when I was walking into it on probably an hour and a half of sleep, actually multiple days of low sleep, the one immediately before being like an hour and a half, I had a lot of fatigue. I hadn't practiced anything. And I just was like, you know what? Here, let this be of service. Let it help. Please, God, help me. And I just stepped in. And like I said, it was the best one I've given up to this point. And that being said, too, there was a gentleman that was there. So the connections that we establish, the things that Spirit begins to bring into our life as we step in faith, are wonderful and amazing. And there's, like I said, I'm near Houston, Texas. And there is a major holistic center, the Edgar Cayce Association for Research and Enlightenment, the Houston chapter, is a big place down in Houston that, or at least in terms of, I don't know necessarily about physical, but in terms of just its spiritual draw and the activities that it has, its prominence in the community in terms of spirituality and things like that with this group of people is huge. And they have a holistic fair every month. And the director of that was at the speech. And so he came up and he and I talked afterwards, like, hey, I love what you're doing. I really would like you to be a part of our stuff over at the Edgar Cayce Expo. I'd like to get you in, maybe you can give some talks over there. Or he's basically, at that point, he said the holistic fair. And normally people have to even pay to go to the holistic fair and be a practitioner. And he's like, I want to host you. You can do it for free. Just come, join us. And then I called him today and talked to him and was like, hey, how about me giving talks? He said, yeah, that sounds great. Maybe you can give multiple talks there over time and I can promote you and we can, it's a win-win for everybody. So this just amazing opportunity to really grow myself, to grow my business, to step into service, just popped up. And so, like I said, God provides. As we step into our deeper, truer nature and spend time cultivating this relationship within, external life just begins to flow. I also noticed that my ability to talk, to say things of value without having to think as much about them, and infinite creativity. Like sometimes when I have days where I'm like, I don't know what to talk about on my scope, I'll just ask and I'll say, what new content is here to be provided? What insights can I offer today? And then inevitably something will just immediately pop into my mind. And it's like, oh, hey, that's a great idea. And I'm off and running. So again, there's an infinite wellspring of inspiration, creativity, love, encouragement deep within us all. And as we take time to open to this and just spend time in presence being, our entire life can transform. The external is a mirror of the internal. So as we transform our internal, all of this comes along as well. So that's something I've really been seeing, not just intellectually, but experientially in my life. And I wanted to offer that to you guys, that seek, I guess, and not that I prescribe to any particular religion. I don't mean to step on anybody's toes. I do happen to find a lot of things in the Bible very useful and beneficial. I was originally raised Christian, and then I kind of expanded to where I see that all roads lead to the same place, because there really is all is one truth, and we've honestly never left home. We already are all enlightened. We've just forgotten, and we're on our way back to remembering. Anyway, that being said, in the Bible it says, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all other things will be added. And I truly, truly believe that. So make this be your highest, best relationship first, and let your life beautifully unfold from there. So I hope you find value in that. The other thing too, just very, very briefly, and then I'm going to get off, I choose to spend a few minutes working on a presentation for tomorrow, and it is 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would like to get a little bit of sleep. God provides, but it's helpful if I help him out. Well, not that God needs help, but you know what I'm saying. I'd like to have a little bit of sleep beforehand. So this other idea of, I had an interaction with a lady this morning, and she was helping me out with a few things and fixing a computer issue for me and setting some stuff up for this talk that I'm giving tomorrow. And I was like, okay, when do you think this thing will be ready? And she's like, I'm not sure. I got a full day of other stuff of my own. I don't know when I'll get this done. And I said, okay, well, how about I just, said, I want to come by if it's not ready. How about I just text you? Like, just drop by and check. And if it's ready, cool. If it's not, then you can come back later. And I was like, I'm not going to drop by and check. Thank you, but I have a full day as well, and just, I'm not going to do that. I'll text you, whatever, you can let me know, but I'm not going to just drop by. And I felt really irritated in the moment. What are you telling me to just drop by and waste my time driving here and driving back? Do you not understand all the shit that I have going on right now and my full days? And it's a waste of time. And I really felt some anger and some irritation surfacing. And then it hit me upon later reflection. First of all, no, she has no idea what my day is doing. She has a kind of an idea, but does she fully understand where I am, what I'm doing in my life, and what my day contains? No, she doesn't. Nor is she supposed to. I have no idea what her day is fully containing, nor am I supposed to. But I noticed that there was this deep sense of needing her to understand me, needing her to identify with where I was coming from. And I kind of opened that and explored that even more. And this idea of almost as if I wanted her to, and this is a small circumstance, but I feel like we do this in our daily lives with all kinds of people all over the place. So I felt really called to mention it. Almost the audacity that she had to say something like that. And also that some internal, sometimes when people say things like, hey, you ought to do this, you ought to do that, and we don't follow through, or we don't do it, especially if you have been raised with any sort of like self-confidence issues, self-worth issues. If, like as I was kind of made fun of as a kid, so I was very shy at first and withdrawn, and I lost my sense of, or covered up my sense of my own self-belief, my own self-faith, that has been reawakening these past few years. But for a long time, a lot of self-doubt plagued me. So when somebody else would say, hey, you should do this, I'd be like, oh, okay, I need to go do that, even if it didn't feel like it was right inside. And so I lost myself a lot in the outside world. And so there was this, and there's remnants of that still around, and you guys may be experiencing similar things as well. So as this lady would say, hey, you just drop by, there's a piece that almost felt guilty for standing up for myself and saying, no, it's so not worth my time just to drop by. And like, and resenting that feeling of guilt and resenting her for saying that thing, for bringing up this feeling of guilt inside of me, like you should have known that I got shit going on and not even said something like that so I don't have to feel guilty, and just all of this stuff that surfaced as an outward projection because I needed her to act a particular way so that I felt that I could be a particular way or not have a particular thing come up. And all of this reeks of victim consciousness, of this idea that I'm at the whim of my external circumstances and that I need somebody else in the outside world to be a particular way so that I can feel comfortable being me. And that is backwards. We are masters of our life. We are masters of our experience. And we need nothing else in the outside world to stand up and be the amazing men and women that we are. To honor ourselves, to honor our circumstances, to honor our time, to honor our activities. We need nobody to be any particular way to do that. It's just a matter of honoring ourselves. Of course, in a way that is harmonious with the people around us and the life circumstances that are coming our way. But never let us get lost in the idea that we need somebody else to show up a particular way so that we can show up a particular way. That gives our power away and puts us at the whim of the external world, and then when things don't flow that way, it brings up a lot of bitterness, anger, resentment, sadness, whatever kinds of emotions come up. So instead, let us take our power back. Let us remember that we are masters of our experience. And as we cultivate this inner sense inside through spiritual practice, through meditation, etc., we develop the roots of our inner being. And we are able to stand more solidly in who we really are. We're able to honor ourselves. And in doing so, we don't need anybody else to understand us anymore. We don't need anybody else to identify with us or to understand what we're going through. Now, if they do, that's great. And it's beautiful sometimes to have that connection with somebody else where they really get where you're coming from. But as we open to our soul, we recognize that there is an infinite best friend inside that totally understands us, totally gets us, totally loves us unconditionally, needs nothing from us, and is simply here to support us on our journey, asking that the opportunity is open. I guess when I say needs nothing from us, the soul is on a particular path and is asking for our help. But in terms of needing us to, I don't know, scratch that thought. But the point is, an unconditionally loving best friend, an unconditionally understanding, beautiful connection inside, full of warm fuzziness and glow that gets us and loves us and will never leave us and never forsake us. And as we open to that inside, we don't need it from the outside world. And if we don't need it from the outside world, then we allow the outside world to show up as it shows up. If this lady doesn't understand what I'm going through and she says, hey, you should drop by, cool. Feel free to say that. I totally respect that. Yeah, you don't understand where I'm coming from. It's not your issue. You don't get it. I don't get where you're coming from. And I can completely release any feelings of anger, resentment, bitterness, because I know that I am master of my life. As long as I feel like she holds some power and that whatever she says, I need to somehow dictate or live by that, or do whatever they say, then I feel that I'm being pulled some other way off of my center and I lose myself. When I remember that I am master, and then I can just open, and if somebody's suggestion vibes with where I am, cool. If not, that's okay too. Again, being in harmony with those around us, with honoring our soul, but honestly, oddly enough too, as we begin to honor our soul more, since all souls are deeply connected with one another, in fact, we're really kind of one being in different bodies. As we honor our soul, automatically we will begin to honor the souls of the other people around us, and harmony will just flow effortlessly. And then we can let them be as they are, we can be as we are, we can honor ourselves, we can release negative emotions, not put any extra wonkiness out in the world. They don't feel that. They don't feel the need to send their own wonkiness out. And just everything begins to raise up and create, like I've said before, this world of health, happiness, peace, unconditional love, and heaven on earth, if you will, that I feel fully know is possible. And I think that all of us inside somewhere, we might have lost it along the way, but I think that ever since we were a kid, somewhere inside this idea that like we can all just live and get along and be in a place of peace and love and joy and harmony with each other. It's totally, completely possible. And the deeper we connect within, the more it manifests. So I hope that serves you well. I offer that you begin your own meditative practice. If you have found value in this, and I really appreciate the hearts, by the way, y'all, thank you very much. And if you found value in this, please follow. And I follow back all my legit followers. You are very, very welcome. I'm glad it served. And also, I offer life and wellness coaching, personal empowerment, encouragement, helping you to see where you are, what is in your way, and how you can be the best you that you can be. And so please feel free to connect with me. My email address is on my profile. And I offer a free hour-and-a-half clarity session. It can be very, very helpful. Hold that thought 1 second, but yes. So I offer a free hour-and-a-half clarity session where, like I said, we just delve into who you are, where you want to be, what's in your way. I can offer insights, tips, techniques to really help vault you to the next level, completely free, no obligation, no strings, just it's my way to serve. We can do it in person, Skype, phone, whatever works. And just email me just say, hey, even if it's short, just, hey, I am Susie Q, and I saw your scope, and I'd like to sign up for that clarity session. Hook me up. Something super simple, that's fine. And then we can figure that out. And then if in doing that, we find that it is a win-win for both of us and we're aligned to do coaching together and move further, we can figure out the logistics and go from there. But we just kind of let it flow on a moment-by-moment basis during that clarity session. And whatever works at the end, cool. And if not, and you've gotten some value and you've upgraded your life in some way, then beautiful. So please connect with me for that. As for the rain, yes, I'm a huge fan of the rain. I find it very therapeutic and very helpful. I don't get the sense of this from what you said, but I guess I'll just put this out there anyway. Be conscious of, with any external thing, be it rain or music or incense or candles or anything like that, to not get lost in the illusion that we need that particular thing. You're very welcome. To not get lost in the illusion that we need that thing to meditate or to meditate deeply, because then we're putting our power in something outside of us. That's ultimately leads to frustration, demise, a victim consciousness kind of a role. So allow all things to be helpful, but have the awareness that ultimately we don't need anything and that the depth comes from within. But that being said, yeah, I'm a huge fan of the rain, so enjoy. All nature, in fact, is beautiful. I have plants I've added in my house, and I just love the vibe. Meditating in nature is very awesome and therapeutic. So, I wish you all an awesome evening. And if you're in the middle of your day, depending on where you are, uh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Have a blessed evening, and or blessed morning, or blessed afternoon, wherever everybody is in the world. Much love. Take care. Bye-bye.